Tomorrow is Woofstock. It's finally here. Jeez, like it was like a pit stop. It was like, and everything was done. Hello everyone, and welcome to another studio vlog with me, Carolyn from Crafting with Glorious Purpose, where here we make unique and custom gifts for you or for that someone special. It's Woofstock week. Today's Wednesday. It's actually middle of the day Wednesday. It's lunchtime. I didn't film anything Monday or Tuesday, mainly because I was just tying up some loose ends. So we're all packed for Woofstock. Super excited. We got our placement. We will be on the first baseline of the field. For those of you who are new, Woofstock is a dog event that is on the field where the Washington Wild Things AAA or AA, I think it's AAA, baseball team in the area. So we will be actually on the turf, on the field. All the vendors will be up the first and third baseline. The outfield will be all the events and dog contests and all that good stuff. So if, it's really cool. It's really cool. So if the weather holds off, it's been raining all week so far, but it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. We will see what happens, because the last time we went to Woofstock, it rained and we didn't have a really good show at all. So like I said, I have everything packed. I finished up all the little things that I needed to do on my laundry list of things that had an actual flap. That's how many things I had on my list. I got all of those completed, and I spent my lunch break today finishing up the rest of my gift card holders. So these ones are not going to Woofstock, but they're going to my next event. So I doubled down and made a whole bunch. So I have a whole bunch of these done for the upcoming events. So my next event, I have one on October 1st. I have one on October 4th. And then I have one, I believe, the following weekend. I'm kind of like, these days are starting to blend together like June and July did for me. But yeah, we've got quite a bit going on. And I applied to another one in December. So, with all that said, I don't want to have this be too chatty. I want to kind of let this be the whole Woofstock thing. So what I'm going to be doing these next couple days will be making sure I have everything ready to go. I have not gone through my checklist yet, but I've gotten everything packed into 2 totes and the wagon. And then I have my little small crate that I bring that has my grid wall and displays and stuff in it. So that will go. I'm hoping it should be pretty easy, because we can't stake our tent down, so we need to bring extra weights. So we're bringing both sets of weights, the tent, chairs, 3 tables. It's going to be fun. Because I think last time we went to Woofstock, we only brought 2 tables, because I was still relatively new and didn't have a lot of stuff. So I'm not bringing a whole bunch of stuff, but I'd like to have it spaced out in the event that it does rain and we can move stuff in and have room and not have everything be really tight. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. I'm going to keep the rest of the vlog for, going there, getting on the field, and it might be a whirlwind, crazy day, and it may be nothing. So this will be our last attempt to try to do this show. The first year it rained and we had nobody there, and it was a very long day. We didn't go last year, but I heard that it also rained and it thunderstormed and it was very windy. And then this year it's projected to be nice. So if it's nice and the foot traffic's not there, I don't think we'll be doing this event in the future. So we will stick with our events that we have. So I think I'm going to let you go. I just wanted to jump in and let you know. It's Woofstock week. We also got our towels, and they're white. So I'm excited about that. I can press towels for my next week, for next week. and get some new towels made and printed. So that will be what I work on next week. I'm off all next week, so I'm going to be doing prep for these later in the year shows. So, all right. Well, next time I see you, we'll be on our way to Woofstock. So it is Friday, and I am working diligently on getting these last minute things checked off my list. So we are packed, as you can see, ready to go to Woofstock. We're going to pack the car tonight with the tent, the chairs, all the good stuff. So far, so good about rain holding off. It is, last time I checked, and I'll check later this evening, I think when it's a little closer to. It looks like it's going to be cloudy, not going to be sunny. But if it doesn't rain, I'm good with that. I'll take cloudy over rain anytime. So what I need to do is I'm trying to implement, cleaning up my Square account. I got a lot of stuff in there that does not belong. And I made little UPC codes to put on all of my products that didn't have them. So like my keychains, my car coasters, my decals for the nose art, those ones I printed it on the packaging, but the gift card holders didn't have anything on them other than the fact that I knew what they were, and my husband and my son don't. So I was trying to figure out the best way to make that work without adding a whole bunch of work on my end. So I printed a whole sheet of stickers and I made them with different codes. So these ones would be for wristlets. So I just put what they were, like WR, and then I did 0 and then the number 01. I don't think I'm making 100 different varieties of wristlets, but they're the only ones that I have left that I'm not sure how I'm going to put them on. So I went into Cricut Design Space and I found a print tag, or a tag here. So I'm going to try, I cut a whole bunch of these out of scraps. So whenever I make, I have a whole bunch of these, especially this size. And I'm going to put them to good use. So I am only taking a handful of my wristlets. I'm not taking all of them because they don't all really apply for the dog show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try putting the sticker on here and then hanging them onto the wristlets because they don't really have packaging. They just hang on my spinning tray. But I don't want to put a sticker on the fabric because that'll just come off. Then they'll stick to each other. And then it'll just be back to what I was originally. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of my lunch break. I went out and met my husband for lunch, and I have a few minutes left before I have to log back in. So tomorrow is Woofstock. It's finally here. So we will be bringing you along for all the fun shenanigans that will go on at this event, and I'm hoping it's a great event. I'm actually doing really well these last few shows, and it would suck to have a stinker right in the middle. So I'm hoping that, the expectation level is, I'm in the middle. I want it to be better. I really hope that it's really a good show. And like I said, it's definitely weather-based because there's nowhere to hide. So if it rains, you're going to get wet. Or you're going to huddle under somebody's tent, and most people don't want to do that with their dogs. So it'll be tricky. I do have all of my electronics charging. So I have my Square reader, my iPad, and backup chargers. The event's from 11 to 4. And yeah. So I'm going to work on labeling these, figuring out how I'm going to cut all these little tiny strings and tie them all on these wristlets, and then see you tomorrow. It is nice that it's 11. They said you can start to set up at 8. It's a 45-minute drive. I'm not busting my butt to get there at 8 because I don't think we need to be there that super early. I think we got there super early last time, and then we were aboard because we were set up and waiting, and something happened. So I think we're going to sleep in a little bit, stop, get breakfast, and then leisurely make it down to our event. And you know, like I said, they have it set up so that if somebody doesn't show up, there's no gaps in the line, so there's no sign. You're just on what side of the, you know, if you're first base line or third base line. And we are first base, so we will enter, go down the first base line, and the next available spot is where we'll put our tent up. So I'm excited. Let's hope for a very eventful show.
Logan!
All packed up.
Where you at, buddy? There he is!
Hello everybody and welcome back. Woofstock. So it's a couple days later. Woofstock, the weather was absolutely gorgeous. It was cloudy probably half the time, and the other half the time it was sun shining. So No rain, no winds, just the perfect conditions. Overall, not a bad event. There was a good bit of foot traffic. It was funny. We were trying to figure out what our goal would be for this event. And I was like, I just want to make more than I made the first time. And I went back in my square to see what I made that first Woofstock that I went to when it rained. And it was $25 to vend there. It took us about 45 minutes to drive there, and we made $15. And then we donated 10% of that, which was shameful to give, but we donated 10% of it to the Humane Society. Plus we had a raffle, so we gave away merchandise on top of that. So it was not successful at all. So my goal was to make more than $15. I didn't have a specific amount in mind other than I hoped I did better than that. I did. I made $15 in the first 30 minutes. I had made 26 total items were sold. I had, let's see here. Out of all of that, I made a total of, I believe it was 16 sales. And the categories that did the best were nose art decals. Next up were vinyl stickers, the dog ones, of course, being a dog show. But cats came in a close second. A lot of people were looking for cat merchandise. And the lady that was next to me she was a painter. And she had, her entire business was around her cat that had passed. So she had really cool stuff, but it was all cat themed. So I didn't feel bad that I had a little cat corner, but people were looking for cat stuff, even though it was a dog show, which is what I kind of thought would happen. So that was number 2, was the vinyl stickers. And then coming in at third was a tie for third, was car coasters and vinyl stickers. So if you saw in the footage there, the first 15 minutes, the one woman came in with a little wagon with 4 dash hounds in it. And I don't think I got the one was laying down in the back, but there were 3 in the front that were just like super crazy. They were barking at all the big dogs, not the little dogs. And I think it's because they couldn't see them, because they were in the basket and they could only see the big dogs. So then they were freaking out. But yeah, they were ready to jump out and attack any big dogs. And when I say big dogs, I'm talking Great Danes, like ones that would just rip their face off, and not even think about it. I did sell a couple bandanas and keychains, and I sold some window clings. Again, don't know what the uptick with window clings are, but that was great. And the last item I sold was, I brought as a last minute when I was packing, I found that I still had pet ornaments that I made. So I threw those in and just threw them on my table. And I'm glad I did, because I had a little extra space and it was perfect for right there in the front. I did sell one of them, and it was a cat one. So goes to show you, even at a dog show, people were looking for cat merch. I had a couple people, or actually I had one woman come in and ask me for any cat grandma stuff, which I don't have any of that. I don't know if that I would. I wrote it down, like decals for being a cat grandma. I have them written down. I might try that. I'd probably do more cat mom and cat dad kind of thing. So I wrote down a couple ideas on my list for next week. Overall, the event was good. I had no complaints sales-wise. There was a lot of traffic. There were lulls and breaks where you could tell people were coming in waves. It started at 11, which was, I don't think people started coming until about noon or a little later. But that worked out great, because then I could eat lunch before people started to really come in. They were the early birds, but if the event started at noon, it probably would have done better if it was noon and then went later, because people were coming later than the early start. We did not get there for 8 a.m. to set up like we did in the previous year. So we were like and it's like I said, it was first come, first serve. So when you got there, you could pick your spot. So you start from home plate and work your way back to the outfield, depending on what gate you went in. We were on the first base line. So we entered the right field gate. When we got there, there were 3 people already set up. So we were fourth in line from home plate. They had a DJ at home plate, and it was just screaming loud the entire time. Like, I could not have recorded anything, even if I wanted to. I was trying to do a couple check-ins when there was a lull. People were in my booth and I needed to talk to them. And then when the music started, I couldn't even hear the people in my booth. It was so loud. And I think at one point somebody must have said something, because it did tune down a little bit. But I enjoyed the music, don't get me wrong, but wow, it did not need to be that loud. I think they wanted people in the outfield to hear it, and it wasn't necessary. But yeah, I mean, other than the music being way too loud, and I'm not one to complain about loud music, but when I'm trying to talk to somebody at an event and sell them things and they can't hear me, and I'm right next to them, some of them I had to walk out of the front of the booth to hear what they were saying. Like, one lady was asking for a specific dog breed and I could not hear what she said. Yeah, so that wasn't great. And they were understandable. They were like, wow, this is really loud. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was back there. I heard like every third word you said, and I just wanted to make sure I heard it right. So yeah, I didn't get any footage because I didn't want to get dinged for copyright. I mean, it was music playing on a loop the whole time. But yeah, we did really well. We did better than our $15. I'll tell you that. It was par for the course what I've been making at the last few events, which is great. If I took into account the $25, the basket that I gave for a raffle, I did not donate this year, only because I was like, I don't want to be, I was so embarrassed handing her $1.50 the previous year. I was like, I'm sorry, but I only made $15, and here you go, you get $1.50 of it. It just seemed very disingenuous, and I didn't want her to think that, I didn't want to donate anything, but that's all I made. But if I took into account the $25 fee, the raffle basket, the gas to get there, and if I was using this as I paid myself time to be there for a 5-hour show, I maybe made like $15, $20. However, I wasn't overly concerned with the paying myself to be there just yet, because I still have a full-time job. So it's not like this is my only thing. I would be in a worse spot had I done, if I'm factoring all that time in. But overall better than the previous year. I would have to think about maybe going back next year. It would all depend. Like I said, this weekend, I didn't have any other shows that would have come up that I would have been like, ooh, I wish I wasn't going here, because I would have rather gone here. So I think I'd be okay doing it again next year. It probably, I'll tell you, setup was a breeze and takedown was a breeze. They had volunteers there. We unpacked our car at the load off spot, and they had volunteers waiting that were part of the lacrosse team. And those guys, let me tell you, they ran off with our tent and our chairs and our tables, and we got the wagon filled. And as I made the turn to actually see down the first base line, they were already putting our tent up. Like, they assembled our tent, put up our tables, got our chairs ready, and had everything ready to go. So when I pulled up with the wagon, we were just tablecloths and getting set up. So I didn't get to film any of the setup because there was none. I just kind of was like, oh, okay, thank you guys. They're throwing the thing on the top. They got it all set up. Same thing with teardown. I blinked and they had everything, like we took the tent down and folded up the top, but then when it come to carry stuff over, because there wasn't any, you couldn't back onto the field, they had everything run down to the gate. So my husband, I was like, just go get the car and I'll meet you down there. We'll clean up the space. So my son and I were like grabbing stuff, but it was like the setup and the tear down was like a huge rush because there were people grabbing stuff and moving us. And I was like, I don't want, my cash box to get taken by mistake, somebody to pack one of my tables. So it was like trying to make sure everything was accounted for. And I'm like, geez, like it was like a pit stop. It was like, and everything was done. So I commend them for making it an in and out easy process. And I think a lot of vendors maybe for the past 2 years were complaining about the long distance from the gate all the way to the field. But very nice that they had them there to be helpers. So, but it was fun time for sure. A lot of pups. They didn't do the costume part of it. So it was kind of a bummer. I was kind of expecting to see a bunch of ones dressed up, but there were 2 older ladies that had their Yorkies, and they come to every single one of them in that area that we've been to, and they were dressed up like the Haunted Mansion, which I threw pictures in there. You would have seen them, but they had little strollers and they dolled up and they had these huge dresses on. I mean, they look sweet. Let me tell you, I was like, wow, you guys go all out for this kind of stuff. But, yeah, so all in all, much better than the first time. But yeah, I think it was good. Yeah. So I am glad you got to go along with me. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of Woofstock. And I will catch you next week. Bye, everybody.